Hey all, this is the newest iteration of my smart airsoft optic titled the AWMS. I'll jump right in with first up, this new version has a bit of a better focus on field of view and kind of eye relief. It's not perfect by any means, it's still very short eye relief. You have to be about an inch or so away from the screen, away from the rear mirror, sorry, to be able to see all the information on it, so you need a gun that works with. But it now you can't see everything all at once. You don't need to move your eye around to be able to see everything on the display like this. Although you can do that at a distance, you can kind of pick the center off and then move and see the different information on the display. The interface consists of just these three buttons and a USB port on the back there. The buttons, center turns it on, two outside ones turn it off, and then you have zeroing on these two bolts here. This one controls the pivot angle of the front lens, and then this one here controls the pivot angle of the rear lens. So that gives you windage on the front lens and elevation on the back. Other than that, it is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts in order to pop the top off, which contains all the optics and the optical engine, and in the bottom is the battery, which lasts for 12 hours, the main board, and the display, which you can kind of see just in there. A lot of the focus in the latest version has been on modularity of the UI and of this, so there will be capacity to have replacement covers, such as a redesign of it that makes it a bit bulkier but also potentially waterproof. This one very much, as you might be able to tell from all the big holes and everything, is not waterproof, but there is definitely potential to at least make it water resistant. The rest of, well, first off I can talk through the elements we've got on the display here. So all of these data fields, of which there are 2 at the top there, 1 left, 1 in the center, 1 right, 1 bottom left, 2 in the middle, and 1 bottom right. All of those data fields, you can set exactly what information of the set we have available goes into that data set. I'll run through the UI on the one that I've got the top off. It's a bit easier to film through. But to open the UI, you press and hold this center button, and you'll see it comes up with the whole UI. Everything, barring only one thing, can be edited in device, from the size of the ammo count that you have, the calibration for your gun, the compass, everything can be all set up, and all the UI elements can all be set up through the onboard UI. I'm planning on doing a video series that runs through specific features like calibrating the compass or setting up the clock or configuring your own UI and all of that, just so that it's a bit clearer than, this. But yeah, so the main things we've got in this new version are big long battery life, 12 hours on full brightness, because we've got a 1200 milliamp hour battery. Takes about 4 hours to charge, but that's an unfortunate byproduct of this board being designed for a smaller battery as well, that also needs to charge on the same hardware configuration, and not having enough pins left to change the charge state depending on the battery configuration. It's anything else? I think that pretty much covers it. So just a quick rundown of what it can do. It's got it's a optic, so it projects the image of the display at distance, so that you can focus on both the display and what you're shooting at the same time. It has in the middle there your round counter, which can work both sensorlessly, using the vibration of the gun firing, or which you calibrate, so it's all set up to your gun. It's not just like those terrible magazines that wind themselves when the gun fires. This you can see the profile of the detection settings in UI, which is really nice, and you can see how whether it's triggering or not. But yeah, you calibrate it to your gun, and if your gun is a bolt action or too quiet or doesn't have the right kind of sound profile, or you can't mount it firmly enough to the frame, there is also an option for a sensor, which actually, yes, I do have one on the floor now here. A sensor, not dissimilar to one of these, in fact exactly one of these, which plugs into either of the ports on the front of the device. So that just plugs in there. This is just a light brake sensor. It's the ultimate fallback. It will work on anything that you can plug this over the barrel on, and we can provide the geometry. If you have like a weird gun that you want to put this on and you want to design your own sensor, we can facilitate that. The other port on here is for a reload sensor. As standard, you can just reload off this center button, but if you want something a bit more accessible, you can plug in a sensor. Either port can do either function. You just set that up on device. Other than round counting, it has at the top there let's see if I can get it to focus, a scroll bar compass. I'm pointing the wrong way. There we go. So as you move around, the compass pans with you. The accuracy of that is very dependent on calibrating to a new magnetic environment. So you put it on a new gun, calibrate that, and it should be pretty accurate. Got a clock at the top there. On the top left, it shows that you've got multiple profiles. You have up to 6, and each one has a different number of shots configured to it. So if I press the center button, you'll see that profile icon changes. I can go up to profile 2, leave it for a second, and then now I've got a 350 round mag. It's great if you've got like high caps and mid caps and want to keep track of both of them. It's very easy to swap between profiles as you change guns. Other than that, we've got the compass in the bottom left, clock in the bottom left, and what we call the hop-up assist, which is that little red icon there, which basically tells you which direction your gun needs to point to go back to level, so that you are in line with gravity to aid your hop-up. It just a nice little icon there. It can be useful if you like you're leaning out of a building, just your shots are whiffing left. You can make sure that your gun is in fact level, and you can calibrate the zero angle and the sensitivity of that. Let me just turn this display down a bit. There we go. Makes it a bit easier to see here. The display goes very dim for indoor environments, so you just barely see it there, and then go up to fairly bright. It's not the brightest, I will admit, in the world. You will struggle to see it against the white background in direct sunlight, but I find it perfectly serviceable and at least usable in all conditions that you're reasonably going to be fighting in, especially like woodland cover. Anything indoors, it's brighter than you need it to be, and even like sunny outdoors against trees, it's visible with appropriate selection of the colors. On that regard, the colors are entirely customizable. You're going to press the center button and scroll down to UI settings, set up colors. Each one, you have a base UI, which is the color you're seeing here, background color, which is the black, so you probably don't want much color there, good, warm, and bad. And each of these you set up by setting the specific RGB value for each color. And whilst we're in here under UI settings, we also have the select reticule option. So this is there are 12 presets built into the device, and you can scroll through them in here and pick the one you want. And if none of these take your fancy, or you have a specific look you want to go for, there is a companion app called Tachyon Link, which I have here, which will allow you to design your own UI elements. So that's the entire UI, so not just your the reticule you see in the center there. Oh, it's not in the wrong menu. Scroll up, back. Not just that reticle you see in the center there, but also all the graphics and designs and like the icons for the clock, the compass, every UI element, even the fonts are able to be modified and customized however you want them to be, if you so chose. So I've done, for example, previously, a lot of these sites are Titanfall inspired, or sorry, the reticules of Titanfall inspired, but I've done a Halo themed pack where I took pretty much any icon I could think of that I could turn into a reticule from Halo, and made that as a whole graphics pack. So this is Tachyon Link. Logitech's being a little bitch in the background there. And if you go to graphics, new graphics pack from template, and open the thing, here we go. This is the UI design thing. So the most important one is you can go down to, where is it? I am blind. Icon. this. No. That's not correct. Alright, this is, that's it, the reason being this is the Tachyon. So this hardware, the electronic hardware, is based on the Tachyon, and he also does the software. And this particular firmware image I created from template is the Tachyon one, but it's the same basis. Basically, you can right click and draw where you want pixels to be, and left click to draw where you want them, right click to draw where you don't, and where you click a pixel is where a pixel will be. So if you can kind of turn it into pixel art, you can customize every element of your site. The site, the reticles are more kind of this size of object, but there's 12 spaces to put icons into. Right, other than that, I think that's pretty much it. So I'm hoping that this is a pretty complete package. They I currently have a limited number available for sale. So if anyone's interested, do please get in touch.